Namaste dear students. In our last class we discussed about Albert Einstein's explanation about photoelectric effect. Let's revise it quickly. In his explanation he said that if this is metallic surface and suppose photon is incident on it. So suppose this photon is having its energy of 100 MeV, 100 million electron volt, and if this energy is incident in the form of a photon on a metallic surface which is having free electrons, we know that to liberate these electrons from this metallic surface we require minimum energy, and that energy is called its work function. Suppose work function of this metal is of 70 MeV, then this 100 MeV will be used up by this metallic surface up to 70 MeV, and remaining 30 MeV energy will be converted in the form of a kinetic energy of this electron. It means the electrons which are liberated from this metallic surface will be having its energy of 30 MeV. So that is the kinetic energy. And Albert Einstein, he explained that in his explanation of intensity. He said that intensity is equals to energy upon area into time, but energy is NHF. Here N is number of photons. So as intensity increases, energy increases. Energy increases, it means number of photons increases, and as number of photon is increasing, so photoelectric current will increase. Why? Because many free electrons will be liberated from the metallic surface. That was his first explanation. Then he explained that if frequency of incident radiation is less than threshold frequency, we know that threshold frequency is the minimum frequency which is required to liberate electron from the metallic surface, then electrons will not get ejected from the metallic surface. And he said that energy E is equal to HF. If frequency is low, this frequency is low, then energy will be low. So if this energy is low, then electrons will not be able to eject from the metallic surface. Then he said that if frequency is greater than threshold frequency, then its energy E is equal to HF. If frequency is more, then energy will be more, and if energy is more, then electrons will be ejected. And if it is more than work function, then kinetic energy of electron will be maximum, so that will also increase, which is half mv square. Then he said that there is an elastic collision between electrons and photon, so it is spontaneous process. That's why electrons will take 10 raised to minus 9 seconds or less than this time. So electrons are quickly ejected from the metallic surface. Then today we are going to discuss about dual nature of radiation. Dual nature, it means, first of all, in wave optics we will study about interference, diffraction and polarization. These are three phenomena when light behaves as a wave, and this we are going to discuss in wave optics. So just now you will have to remember these three names. So this can be satisfactorily explained on the basis of wave nature of light. But phenomenon like photoelectric effect, which we have already studied, like that there is a Compton effect, So photoelectric effect and from photoelectric effect and Compton effect, we can say that light behaves as a particle. So by assuming particle nature of light, radiation has a dual nature. Radiation has a dual nature. It means light is behaving like a wave and as well as particle. So sometimes it behaves as a wave and sometimes it behaves as a particle. Then what is de Broglie's hypothesis and what he suggested? De Broglie suggested that in 1924, Louis de Broglie, he said that whenever any material, the material in the particle form and that is in a motion, it has wave like properties. It means if light is a wave, light is wave, so it behaves like a particle. So if light is wave, it behaves like a particle, then electron is a particle, so it must behave like a wave. So here nature prefers symmetry. It means if light is wave but it behaves like a particle, so electron is a particle. It must behave like a wave. So it is like a symmetric. It means light is a wave but it behaves like a particle, so electron is a particle, so that must behave like a wave. That was explained by de Broglie, and he suggested that the nature was symmetric and two basic physical entities, that is matter and energy, so must have symmetrical character. Symmetrical character, it means if one is a particle but behaving like a wave, so if another is a wave, so it should behave like a particle. So that is a symmetric. And in a radiation source, the dual nature should matter. So the particle like electrons, protons and neutrons etc. should behave like a wave. And the wave associated with the material particle in a motion is called matter or de Broglie wave. Here de Broglie wave, it means if any particle is behaving like a wave, so it must be having some wavelength, and that wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength. Now let's calculate de Broglie wavelength. So in considering a photon as an electromagnetic wave of frequency nu, so its energy will be E equals to h nu. But by comparing this equation with Albert Einstein's theory, E is equal to mc square. So if you compare mc square with h nu, so you will get hc by lambda is equal to mc square, because here nu is frequency will be c by lambda, so lambda will be h upon mc, so that is equals to h upon p. Here p is wavelength, so this is for de Broglie's wavelength. So lambda is equal to h upon m into c for photon, but for particle lambda is equal to h upon mv. This is for material particle and that was for photon. Then he discussed that here lambda is the wavelength of the radiation of frequency nu and p is equal to mc, that is the momentum. So about the equation has been derived for photoelectric radiation. According to de Broglie's hypothesis, it must be true that the material particle like electron, proton and neutron etc. are particles having mass m, so that must behave like wave, so that is its wavelength will be lambda is equal to h upon mv. So if you write it in the form of a kinetic energy, then you can say that kinetic energy K is equal to half mv square. So kinetic energy K equals to, we can write P square by 2m. So P is equal to under root 2 km, right? So its wavelength can be written as lambda is equal to h upon p. P is momentum, that is mv, but mv can be written as under root 2 km. So this will be the wavelength, and that is called de Broglie's wavelength, and that is explained in this part. And if it is asked that show that the de Broglie's wavelength lambda for the electron of kinetic energy K is given by this formula. So here if you consider kinetic energy as K, then we can say K is equal to half mv square. So V is equal to under root 2k by m. So lambda is equal to h upon mv. So it is h upon m under root 2k by m. So lambda can be derived as h upon under root 2km. That is its derivation. Now if it is asked that show that the de Broglie wavelength for electrons accelerated through potential difference V volt is expressed in this form. So first of all, according to law of conservation of energy, if you consider kinetic energy of electron as potential energy, so kinetic energy will be equals to potential into charge is equal to potential energy. So if you compare these two results, so you can write kinetic energy of electron half mv square, and that, work done on electron means potential energy, that is equals to potential into charge, that is E. E is the charge of electron. So half mv square is equal to EV. So V is equal to under root 2k 2EV by m. So lambda is equal to h upon mv, that is equals to h upon m under root 2EV by m. So that can be written in this form, that is h upon under root 2mev. Now if you substitute value of Planck's constant, mass of electron, charge of electron, so and if you calculate, so you will get lambda is equal to 12.3 upon under root V angstrom. So this is the wavelength of electron which is accelerated through potential V around nucleus. Now we will discuss about proof of wave nature and particle nature. So Davison and Germer, they performed one experiment, and in their experiment they arranged two different batteries. One was high tension battery, another was low tension battery. Positive terminal of high tension battery was connected with anode or metallic surface, and negative terminal was connected with a low tension battery, and negative of low tension battery was connected with a filament. Filament, it means that is the substance which can easily eject electrons from its surface. So this was behaving as a cathode and this was behaving as a anode. So this is cathode surface and this is anode. So whenever high potential difference was applied between these two, so this is positive and this part is negative. So this is negative, this is positive. So electrons were ejected from filament, and that electrons was passing from the anode, and that was striking to nickel surface. And when it was striking to nickel surface, so these electrons were deflected, and here this angle was phi, and this angle is, sorry, that angle was theta, this angle is theta, and here there is theta, means this is phi, this is theta, this is theta. And after this experiment he proved that light is having dual nature, that is particle as well as wave, because from wave theory the wavelength which they will get same wavelength by de Broglie's hypothesis. So from both it was same result, so they accepted that light is having dual nature, that is particle nature as well as wave nature. So in their experiment, hot filament of electron gun are accelerated by potential difference V between cathode and anode, and find collimated. Collimated, it means that should go in a straight line. It means collimated, it means that should move over a particular path. Beam of electrons from the electron gun is directed against nickel crystal, and the crystal is capable of rotating about its perpendicular plane of a paper. So the electrons which are scattered in the different direction by the atom of nickel are received by movable detector, which is just an electron collector. So this is detector, and when electrons was striking to nickel crystal, it was deflected. So here different angles were there. This is theta, this is phi, this is theta. So after this experiment, Davison and Germer, they said that when it was voltage was varied between 44 to 68 volt, here there is a strong peak corresponding to a sharp diffraction maximum in the electron distribution, and at the voltage of 54 volt at an angle of 50 degrees. So this angle was 50 degree. So the maximum intensity which is obtained in a particular direction is due to constructive interference. About interference we will discuss in wave optics. So the scattered wavelength, it means when he draw graph, so at 44 degree this angle was small, but at 54 volt this angle of deflection was around 50 degree, and this data he calculated, but here he got peak in this. So he calculated all his values from this peak portion, and he said that angle theta, phi and this theta, its total will be 180 degree. Why? Because here this is line, this angle is theta, this is phi, this is theta. So sum of theta, phi and theta would be 180 degree, and sum of this all is 180. So theta is equal to 90 minus phi by 2, but phi he was knowing, phi was 50 degree. So by substituting 50 degree divided by 2, so it would be 25 degrees. So 90 minus 25 is equal to 65 degree. And he used formula, and he took separation of nickel crystal was D is equal to, this is calculated value which you will have to remember, that is 0.0919914 angstrom, and by putting this value in the formula of a diffraction which is for wave nature. So for wave nature he got wavelength is equal to around 1.65 angstrom, but from de Broglie's hypothesis he used this formula, lambda is equal to h upon mv. So he used 12.3 upon under root v, but we know that v was 54. So when he substituted this, he got same result. So this result was due to particle nature, and this result was due to wave nature. So he got same result for particle nature as well as wave nature. So from these two results he proved that light is behaving as a wave and as well as particle. and that he explained through these results. Now dear students, entire chapter is over. Now let's we see all important formulas. So in this chapter, these are important formulas which you will have to remember. First one, energy of photon E is equal to h nu, that is equals to hc by lambda. Then number of photons emitted per second is equal to n is equal to p upon E. Then momentum of photon P is equal to mc, that is mass into speed of light, that is equals to h nu by c, and that is equals to h by lambda. These all formulas you will have to use while solving numericals. Then equivalent mass of a photon, so that we can calculate by m is equal to h nu by c square. This we have already derived. Work function W naught, that is equals to h into mu naught, and that is equals to hc by lambda. So kinetic energy of photo electrons, that is k max is equal to half mv square, that is h nu minus w0, and w0 is equal to h into nu 0. So by taking h common, we can write h in bracket c by lambda minus c by lambda naught. Here lambda naught is threshold wavelength and f naught or nu naught was threshold frequency. Then v naught is a stopping potential, and that is equals to half mv square maximum, that is equals to e v naught. Then intensity, we know intensity is equal to energy upon area into time, so that is equals to power upon area. And kinetic energy is half mv square, that is p square by 2m, so that can be written as under root 2 km. Then de Broglie's wavelength, lambda is equal to h upon mv, that is equals to h upon under root 2mk. And 11th result is important, in that lambda is equal to h upon under root 2mev, and that is equals to 1.23 upon root v nanometer. This is in nanometer. Many times it will be given in form of angstrom, so at that time it will be 12.3. And Bragg's equation, this equation you will have to remember for this chapter, but after discussion of wave theory or wave optics, you will be able to understand this formula. Now let's we see some numericals. In first numerical, what is the frequency of photon whose energy is 13.6 electron volt? So energy is given in electron volt. So first of all you convert it into joule. Then we know that energy E is equal to hf or h nu. So we are asked to find nu. So nu is equal to E upon h. So if you divide energy by Planck's constant, you will get frequency. Then in second numerical, calculate the number of photons in 6.62 joule of radiation of frequency this much. So first of all, here we are given energy and frequency, h we are given, so we are asked to find energy of each photon, so that we can write as E is equal to h nu, so this much. Now number of photons, that is energy upon h nu, actually it is E is equal to n h nu. So we are asked to find nu, so directly we can write n is equal to E upon h nu. So directly we can get the same answer. Then in third one, this much wavelength is given. We are asked to find energy in electron volt. So first of all, E is equal to hc by lambda. So by substituting value of h and lambda, we can easily get energy in electron volt. Then if a monochromatic light, monochromatic it means having single frequency, single wavelength, that is called monochromatic light. of frequency 6 into 10 raised to 14 hertz is produced by a laser. So what is the energy of each photon and how many photons are ejected per second? So first of all, energy of each photon E is equal to h nu. So h we know, frequency is given, so we can easily calculate energy. So now we are asked to find number of photons. So power transmitted in the beam, so that is equals to n into energy of each photon. So power P is equal to n into E. Actually it is derived from intensity is equal to energy upon area into time. So it is power upon time, that is intensity. So power is equal to intensity into time, we can write. So it is derived from that particular part. So power P is equal to n into E, where n is number of photons per second. So it is in terms of n into E. So n will be equals to P upon E. So this many photons will be there per second. Now in this question, and this type of questions they usually ask in board exams as well as in competitive exams. So if 5% of the energy which is supplied to the incandescent light bulb and 100 watt power is given, wavelength is given, so we are asked to find number of photons which is emitted per second by the visible light. So first of all, energy of one photon E is equal to hc by lambda. So this is energy of one photon. Now 100 watt bulb supplies 100 joule energy per second. So energy released per second will be 100 into 5 divided by 100, so it is 5 joule, because only 5%, it is given in question that only 5% of energy is utilized. So number of photons emitted per second, so it is 5 divided by this energy, so you will get 1.43 into 10 raised to 19 joule, or 19, that many number of electrons emitted per second or photons emitted per second. Then light of wavelength 3500 angstrom is incident on two metals A and B. First one is having work function 4.2 and second one is 1.9 electron volt. So here question is, which metal will yield the photo electrons? So wavelength is given. So first of all, energy E is equal to hc by lambda. So energy is 3.53 electron volt. So 3.53 electron volt is greater than 1.9 electron volt. So this much minimum energy should be there. So this metal will not be able to eject electron, but in this case electrons will be ejected. So metal A will not yield photoelectrons because this work function is greater than the work function of incident photons, which is explained. Now for photoelectric effect in a sodium, the cutoff voltage is given. So here frequency is given and here there is a cutoff voltage. So from graph, frequency can be calculated in this form, and work function from the graph, the threshold frequency is, so threshold frequency will be exactly between 4 and 5. So between 4 and 5, it means it is 4.5. So the work function W naught is equal to H into mu naught. So if you multiply it, so you will get 1.86 electron volt. Then in question 11, photoelectrons are to be emitted from a potassium surface with this speed. So frequency of potassium is given. So we are asked to find the speed. But before that, according to Albert Einstein's photoelectric equation, half mv square is equal to h into nu minus nu naught. So we are asked to find frequency. So in this case, if you send this term over this side, so you can write half mv square divided by h plus mu naught. We are given everything, so if you substitute mass, velocity, Planck's constant and threshold frequency, so you will get the frequency which was asked. Then in question 13, a photon with wavelength this much falls on a photocathode and this much energy, wavelength is given and energy of electron is given. So we are asked to find Planck's constant. So first of all, we know that energy when photon of a wavelength lambda is incident on a photocathode, the energy of ejected electron will be E is equal to hc by lambda minus hc by lambda naught. So actually here it is E is equal to h nu minus h nu naught. So nu naught is a threshold frequency. So they have converted threshold frequency into threshold wavelength. So it is in this form. So by substituting values, you will get hc by lambda naught, its value, and by taking common hc and substituting all, you will get h as this much portion. And now if hc by lambda minus E, so E is given, and by substituting value of h we can get work function, and from that we are asked to find threshold wavelength. So threshold wavelength we can calculate by hc by lambda naught, w naught. So that is equal, and if by substituting all values you will get lambda naught, which is threshold wavelength. Then in question 16, de Broglie's wavelength we are asked to calculate, voltage is given, so that directly we need to substitute in this formula, you will get wavelength. But if it is asked that calculate the momentum of electrons of wavelength 2 angstrom, so by substituting its value in P is equal to h upon lambda, actually it is lambda is equal to h upon P, so they made P to subject. Then in question 18, calculate the momentum of photons associated with frequency this much. So here h nu by c, if you substitute all values you will get momentum. Now in last question, in example 19, a particle is moving 3 times faster as electron and de Broglie wavelength is given. Calculate the particle's mass and identity of the particle. So first of all, for proton, lambda is equal to h upon mass or proton or a particle. If you consider that as a particle, so lambda particle is equal to h upon mass of particle into velocity of a particle. This is for electron. By taking ratio we get this. So if you make subject to mass of particle upon mass of electron, so we can write in this form, and here velocity of particle is 3 times velocity of the electron, which is already given in question. So if you substitute that, and ratio of a wavelength is also given, so we can get mass of particle as mass of electron upon this much part. So it is around 1.675 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram, and which is very near to mass of proton or mass of neutron. So as it is very close to the mass of neutron, so it is considered as a neutron. Thank you, students. Now in NCERT, in exercise there are so many questions, but by tomorrow you need to solve 1 to 12 questions or 1 to 12 numericals which are given in exercise, and you can refer all illustrations of textbook. And if you have any doubt, then please give a call or you can WhatsApp me. Thank you everyone.